Before you understand why people regret losing you, you must understand something psychology rarely says directly. Regret almost never happens in the moment, it arrives later, quietly. When a person realizes you didn't just walk away, you transformed into someone they no longer have access to. Regret isn't triggered by your absence. It's triggered by your evolution, by the shift in your patterns, by the silence where your explanations used to be, by the calm where your emotional availability once lived. The first quiet behavior that makes people regret losing you is when you stop reacting and start evolving. Growth, real, internal, private growth, creates identity dissonance, a psychological mismatch between who someone remembers you to be and who you've become. They thought you'd stay predictable, reactive, emotionally available in the same ways. But when you stop arguing, stop over-explaining, and redirect your energy toward improving yourself, you become unfamiliar, and unfamiliarity forces reflection. People don't regret your absence. They regret that your evolution happened without them. The second behavior is detaching with clarity rather than anger. People know how to respond to anger. They defend, they justify, they argue, but calm detachment removes their script. It creates an unfinished narrative effect, a psychological need to understand what happened. Because you didn't create a dramatic ending, they did. Your quiet exit becomes a mirror they cannot walk away from. The third behavior is becoming less accessible. When you stop being instantly available, when your time becomes selective and your energy becomes protected, people feel the shift. Psychology calls this the scarcity principle. What was once taken for granted suddenly becomes valuable because it's no longer automatic. They notice the lack of convenience, the absence of instant emotional support, and it forces them to reevaluate what your presence actually meant. The fourth behavior is allowing time to reveal truth. When you stop managing the relationship and stop cushioning consequences, time begins to expose patterns they ignored. This contrast effect makes them compare their life with you versus their life without you. And stability, kindness, and emotional safety become painfully obvious only when gone. By the time they recognize your value, you've usually grown into a version of yourself they never imagined. The fifth behavior is leveling up emotionally, not publicly. You don't post about your growth. You don't broadcast your healing. You simply become calmer, more grounded, more intentional. Psychologists call this self-differentiation, the ability to remain centered regardless of what others do. And the moment someone sees that you no longer need their validation, that you no longer crave their approval, regret begins not because they miss who you were, but because they misjudged who you're becoming. The sixth behavior is allowing natural consequences to unfold. You stop teaching lessons, stop chasing closure, stop carrying the emotional responsibility for their decisions. You simply step back. Without you buffering their emotions, they feel the discomfort of their own choices for the first time. Psychology calls this natural consequence, learning. People understand the impact of losing you, not through your words, but through experiencing life without your emotional labor. And the seventh behavior, the one that triggers regret the most, is when you move forward quietly. Not in anger, not in performance, not for attention, but in peace. Your energy shifts, your priorities change, your inner world becomes steadier. Suddenly, their mind notices the silence where your attention used to be. This is attention withdrawal, a psychological vacuum that amplifies your absence. They wonder how you became so centered. They wonder when you stopped waiting. They wonder why your life seems so peaceful now. And regret arrives the moment they realize your growth has taken you somewhere they can no longer reach, somewhere beyond the version of you they once knew. You didn't grow to make them regret losing you. You grew because you finally understood your worth. And regret is simply the echo of someone recognizing it too late. If this message helped you see your own transformation more clearly, subscribe to the Knownsense. Because here we don't just explore psychology, we explore the quiet breakthroughs that shape who you become.